Adam here from the Walser Automotive Group, and today what I want to do is compare a couple of vans. Now next to me here we have the Honda Odyssey, and I'm going to compare that with the Chrysler Pacifica. And so what that means is we're going to take a look at the exterior, some of the cool stuff inside, and see which one might be best for you. Okay, so the Odyssey that we have here today is the Touring model. Now, if I told you 10 years ago that you could have a 280 horse 10-speed automatic, you would not think that I was talking about a minivan. But basically the Odyssey, it's one of those nameplates that's been around for such a long time, and with Honda's great standard for reliability, the Honda Odyssey is an excellent choice. Now, styling-wise, this one has the 19-inch wheels, which seems so crazy for a minivan, but overall, I mean, if you don't need a humongous SUV, if you're not towing to the boat, maybe to the cabin, or if you don't need all that hauling capability, I'm telling you, you gotta get out and look at these minivans. Let's start by looking at the exterior of the Pacifica, and then we'll hop back over to this one. Okay, so now we're looking at the Chrysler Pacifica, and this is going to be the limited hybrid trim. Now what's cool about this one is it's a plug-in hybrid, and right here up front it does come with a plug-in, so you can level 1 charge at home, you can go to a level 2 charger, and it's going to provide you about 32 miles of range. So overall this one is going to get about 30 miles per gallon on the highway compared to the Honda Odyssey, which is only at about 28. So now the Chrysler Pacifica, again, styling obviously with the minivan is going to be pretty similar. A little bit smaller wheels on this one, but you have these cool LED headlights that you can kind of see up front that look and give it a little bit of a different style. So now comparing the Chrysler Pacifica and the Honda Odyssey, this one seems to be a little bit more focused on luxury, where maybe the Honda Odyssey seems to feature more on reliability, and then it's just overall going to work. That's something Honda's built up over the years, that when you hop in, you know it's going to start, you know it's going to go. Where Chrysler has obviously been around for such a long time that now they only make 2 vehicles, the Chrysler Pacifica and the Chrysler 300. So they specialize in this one and spent some time making it a great vehicle. But let's hop back over to that Honda and we'll check out that one. Okay, so where are the kids going to be and what do they have to keep them busy in the back seat, right? So the Honda Odyssey, this one has the bench seat, so it's going to give you 3 across, 3 in the back, and then 2 people up front. One of the coolest things, this one has the DVD integration in here, so you've got this cool little menu that goes on when you're not using it. But I mean, if you're going on long road trips, even if you're just going to the grocery store, trying to keep the kids occupied in the car, we know can be a nightmare. So having this DVD system with wireless headphones is super cool. Now, a few other things, this one does have the power sliding doors, which obviously is pretty standard on minivans these days, and the seats will have a ton of different functions. You can fold them, you can take them out, you can move them around. There's a bunch of ways you can kind of configure this to help you get the best possible use of all this space. Now, like I said, in the SUVs, this is easy. Little kids can't jump into those humongous SUVs anymore, so it makes it a lot more simple for them when they can just take one little step up and they're in the car. Now, these do slide as well, so if you have the car seat hooked up, you don't have to take the car seat out. You can move the seat forward and back and still get people into the rear area. Okay, so in the 3rd row, you've got a headphone input back here with a little volume control. This side has the USB with the same thing. There's a bunch of cup holders. There's actually these little window screens back here as well, so if people don't want the sun in their eyes, they can make that easy. Now, I do have a lot of knee space here. This center one does fold. Everything, like I said, moves. It's kind of like a Lego set. You can just configure it any way you want, move stuff around, take a seat out, but I mean, it's comfortable. It's not a place that you're gonna spend a bunch of time for maybe a full-size adult, but if you throw the kids in the back, I have more space in here than I found having in larger SUVs. But let's hop over to the Chrysler Pacifica. We'll check out that 2nd row. Okay, so now in the back seat of the Chrysler Pacifica, you're gonna find a lot of similarities between this and the Honda, but one of the coolest things, I like these USB chargers. There's a standard USB and a USB-C right in front of you, so the kids can plug their devices in, be all charged up. Now, it also is gonna have the power sliding doors, so there's a button on the side, but another goofy thing down here, I didn't know what this button did, but when you push that, it moves the passenger seat forward, so you get even extra legroom back here, which is pretty cool for someone of my height. And if you're getting in and out of the car, if you're loading things up, just one of those goofy things that makes it easier. Both vehicles are also going to have a tri-zone climate control, so you can set it back here so the rear passengers can set their own temperature. This one doesn't have the DVD player or the Blu-ray player in here, but instead it's got the full panoramic sunroof, and it also has a 2nd sunroof in the back. So the kids or whoever's in the back, it really opens it up in here and makes it very pleasant. Let's hop in that 3rd row and we'll check that out. Okay, so I wanted to sit in the middle seat again, kind of compare the two, but Basically, this one you don't get as much space. I do feel like I have more headroom in here and the sunroof is nice, but even without the bench seat in here, I feel a little bit more cramped. There's gonna be a lot of similarities. You've got the window shades, but you do get a cup holder and then 2 cup holders on this side. But I do feel a little bit smaller. It kind of feels like the back, you don't get quite as much cargo space as well. There's a storage thing on the other side for your charging cable, but it seems a little smaller than the Odyssey. So let's hop over to the Honda Odyssey and we'll check that one out. Okay, so what feels like now we're in the captain's seat. I mean, here, the driver's seat, there's a lot of buttons in here, so it's a little overwhelming, but everything has a good purpose, has a point to it. I mean, let's start kind of on the infotainment system and work our way across. Now, this is gonna be Apple CarPlay as well as Android Auto capable. There's a DVD player right here, a Blu-ray player, like I said, for that controller in the back. You've got a USB, you've got a standard 115 volt plug, 12 volt. There's more plugs in the armrest here. There's a ton of room up front. I mean, you've got storage space for just about everything. There's a huge opening down here, cup holders everywhere in the van. And one of the coolest things is now they've gone to the drive-by-wire. So basically what that means is your drive select reverse is gonna be up here. So you don't have to worry about keeping all that space here for a regular shifter or up on the column. It does free up a ton of space. Now this one on the key fob, obviously you're gonna be able to control the doors from there. There's a button on the side over here for the power folding doors. And on the key fob as well, there's a remote start. There's also gonna be heated seats in this one, which is gonna be super nice for those Minnesota winters. Climate control, everything is pretty straightforward. I like the infotainment screen. It's got a great backup camera in there. You've also got the sunroof up above, which does open it up pretty nicely in here. Now, steering wheel. This one has a ton of safety features. Obviously, if you have your family in the vehicle, you want to make sure you can be as safe as possible. Whether that's blind spot monitoring, lane departure warning, there's an adaptive cruise control and kind of lane keep assist. So if you start drifting out of your lane, maybe you're getting a little tired, it's gonna make sure it keeps you in that lane you're supposed to be in, which obviously is going to keep you safe when you're on the road. So now that we checked out the interior of the Odyssey, let's hop over to that Pacifica. We'll check that one out. Okay, so in the driver's seat now in the Pacifica, again, this is the Limited, so it's gonna have a ton of equipment in here. One of the coolest things, we've always got our cell phones on us, right? So if I drop this in here, it does have wireless charging. It's also got 4 USB plugs down there, a little storage, and then a little bit more over here. So you can definitely keep things locked away or out of sight, or even down below, you can throw a purse or a bag down there. It gives you a nice area to kind of keep things out of the way, because obviously when we're moving around a lot, we got a lot of stuff with us. Now the Pacifica, one of the things I noticed, it's got kind of a thicker steering wheel, but it's got the adaptive cruise control. It's gonna have blind spot monitoring, rear cross traffic alert. It's gonna have a ton of safety features in here to, again, make sure you and your family are safe when you're on the road. Now, like the Honda, this one has the turn knob here instead of the drive-by-wire buttons, but it does free up this space like I mentioned, so you get that extra storage room in here. Couple other cool things, this one is gonna have heated seats, it's got a heated steering wheel, it's also got ventilated seats, so if I kick those on, you immediately feel that cold air coming up your back, which when it's hot like it is today, it's a pretty awesome feature. So a few other things in here with the Uconnect system, you've got Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, it's got a backup camera, it's got some apps you can download into here, plus it's gonna have the onboard navigation similar to the Honda had. Now our instrument cluster here, it's gonna give you your total range, it's gonna give you just a fuel economy range, and then it's also gonna give you your electric range. So right now I'm sitting at about 11 miles, and I have to say on the open road when driving the two back to back, this one is really quiet. It's super comfortable when it's in that electric range, and like I said, if you plug it in and you get 30 miles, for some people, that's gonna be enough to get your daily tasks done, or maybe if your office is only 10, 12 miles away, you can get back and forth from home to the office without ever using any fuel, which is definitely gonna help you save some money at the pump. There's so much equipment in these vehicles. Like I said, if you don't need an SUV, this is a lot easier to park. It gets better fuel economy. I mean, arguably it's not as good looking. Maybe the minivans aren't as cool, but I mean, once you're inside, who cares? You've got all this great equipment, all this technology. So when you're on the road, you're just cruising along, you're gonna be comfortable, and you're gonna be happy that you're not spending all that money at the fuel pump. Let's compare the two now between the Honda and the Chrysler Pacifica. The Pacifica, like I said, feels a little bit more upscale, feels like it has a little bit more luxury kind of built into this one. I like the wood on the dash, the piano black is nice, although it does scratch a little bit easier. It does look very nice when you're in here and everything's new and clean. Now the Honda, you know it's gonna work. Like I said, you can put 200,000-300,000 miles on that Odyssey. That is not a thing out of the blue where it's just gonna get in, change the oil, and run and go. Where the Chrysler Pacifica with the battery system, again, over time, those batteries do kind of deteriorate. So that's one thing you have to think about if you're thinking about owning a vehicle long term. It kind of just breaks down to, do you like the way this infotainment system's set up? Do you like the way the seats fold in the back? Do you like the storage in the center here? I mean, it's hard for me to say because both do have a lot of pluses and maybe a few minuses, but overall, I mean, you got to get out, check one out, and see what you think. Okay, so we looked at the Honda Odyssey, we looked at the Chrysler Pacifica. Now they both have a great amount of equipment, tons of good styling, great usability, but which one might be best for you? Like I said, you gotta get out and drive one. The Odyssey might do something that the Pacifica didn't, but overall, there's really not a bad choice when looking at either one. Now, if you'd like more information, you can visit us at walser.com or stop by any one of our locations. We'd be happy to help you out. Thanks for watching.